Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're going to be taking a look at a special late entry to our special month. This guy was just delivered to me, sent to me by Zanette, lady that I really do love and appreciate. As my girl, she sent me this as a Christmas present. What we have here is the Earthrise version of Runamuck. Of course, Runamuck is based on a Generation 1 toy. Here he is now. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to review the G1 version due to the fact that finding his card backer is surprisingly a pain in the butt, for lack of a better term. But in any way, we can see that the Earthrise version is a considerable improvement over his Generation 1 counterpart. The G1 toy was known as a Battle Charger, which was the Decepticon equivalent of the Jump Starters. In this instance, it was meant that while in car mode, Runamuck could be pulled back on a smooth surface, and then after he rolled along for about a foot or two, he would automatically spring up into his robot mode. And since all of his feet were still kept on the ground with wheels, he would continue to roll along the floor for about another foot or so before finally coming to a dead stop. This particular transformation, while not exactly thrilling, did work well for his function, as he and his counterpart Runabout were both labeled as Shock Troopers. And Shock Troopers, when they were around at that time, were known for being sent in to breach enemy defenses. So having a robot that could ram through obstacles and then transform gave him a slight tactical edge. Now, for those of you who may be wondering, yes, we can do a similar pose with the weapon on Runamuck here. There are a couple of holes in his shoulders, so if you want to go the Generation 1 route, you can post his gun into his shoulder. It looks sort of silly, but it is a nice way to pay homage to the original toy. Now we'll take a quick look at his gun, which is his only loose part. In case any of you out there happen to be buying him used on the secondary market, this is his gun. It kind of resembles your typical science fiction gun. With the way the barrel is designed, we got a little scope on the top. And there's a little gap in the middle here. Doesn't really serve much of a purpose. The thing I find a little strange is that there is a hole in the back. So it somewhat implies that it could have been merged with another weapon or something else plugged into the back of it. I don't think we'll find out what that's intended to be, but you at least know it's there. Now, of course, before we transform Runamuck, we should take a look at his articulation, especially since it is vastly superior to the Generation 1 toy. We can turn his head from left to right. It is relatively stiff, and his head does rock up and down a little bit, so it is on a small ball joint. His arms can be raised up at the shoulder, about so far. And of course his arms do rotate at the shoulder all the way around. You will have to shift it slightly so it clears his back unit. His arm can be bent at the elbow, 90 degrees, and he does feature a swivel at the bicep, so he does have G.I. Joe battle grip. The wrists, of course, can also be shifted a bit, but that's more for transforming him than anything else. He does have a swivel at his hips, so he can do the twist. He can spread his legs apart about so far, all the way into a full splits. Then you can raise his leg up at the hip about 100 degrees, and he can bend his leg at the knee. Now, the actual joint bends at 90 degrees, but if it's not secured, as you saw, it can bend even further. And of course, he does have articulation at his ankle, but it's also more for transforming him than serving any real practical purpose of standing him up. Now, to transform Runamuck here, it's considerably more difficult than what the original one was, but about what you would expect for a deluxe class transformer. Excuse me. To start off with, we take the figure and we will twist him all the way around at the hips. Of course, he's supposed to be facing that way. Then you will connect his feet together, like so. Try to keep him somewhat straight. Then we're going to turn him around, and you will fold him in at the knees, like so. Just sort of an easy does it to get him down and into the body of the car. Just exactly like that. And then we are going to fold up his feet and snap all the components in to form the front of the car. And then next we will pop open his chest, which doesn't open very wide. But you will fold the head down into his chest cavity and then close it back up. And then now we will come down to his arms, and you will fold the fists inside his arms, just exactly like that. Then you're going to need to take his arms and turn them at the bicep so that this edge here, the car doors, faces the outside. Just exactly like that. And then now we come here to the back, and we've got to raise up the car windshield. First you're going to raise up the back section of the car. Then we got to get the windshield to pop up. And it's on a special hinge, so it needs to come forward. You don't fasten it, just get it forward so it's out of the way. And then next, you're going to shift the arms up at the shoulders. I will tell you, on a first open, this part will be a pain, because it took me a while to get the shoulders to shift that way. A very brand new, fresh toy will have some difficulties with that. But once you get the shoulders up, you sort of fold the arms in and connect them to the front of the car. Just exactly like that. Does take a little effort, but just slowly work with him a little. And then next, you're going to take the rear section of the car to fold it back a bit. Then you're going to reach inside it here, and you're going to fold out the back wheels. Once they are folded out, then you can proceed to bring the back half of the car down. And then you can finally secure the windshield onto the top of the car. And then there you have it. Runamuck transforms into a somewhat Cybertronian-inspired sports car. Now, he's trying to look earthy, but you can kind of see there's some weird designs on the windshield and on the back window to clearly say he is not an Earth-inspired car. And of course, since he does have a hole on the top of the car, you can, of course, mount his gun. And how well does he roll on this surface? He rolls okay. It could be better. For some reason, the front wheels don't seem to be rolling very well. Now, of course, here he is with his Generation 1 counterpart in car mode. Of course, back in the 80s, it was cool to have him look like a real car. And in the 1980s, he became a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Of course, now that Trans Ams are no longer made, because GM does not have the Pontiac brand, our dear little friend here had to pick a different car mode. But it does pay homage in the right places. It may be white instead of the light gray like the original, but it does have the nice gold trim at the front of the hood. Of course, on mine here, it's got it on the front bumper. But it also has some gold trim along the side of the car. So it does pay a nice homage to that. And of course, we do have the Decepticon symbol on the roof of the car, which sort of pays homage to the rub sign that's visible on the top of the car. Of course, when he was in robot mode, you saw we had the inlaid square with the Decepticon symbol. That is definitely more of an homage to this toy than how it's presented in car mode, but still, I do like the thought. So now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of this new version of Runamuck? Truth be told, I do like how the robot mode turned out. The robot mode certainly improves the playability of the toy, unlike how it was on the original. Since the original was more about the gimmick than about the robot itself. And granted, while they made the gimmick work with his function, it did limit some of the playability of the toy. The car mode on the new one, I'm not as impressed with it. I do like the homages that it does pay to the original toy. Don't get me wrong on that. That's pretty good. However, the white color does make it a lot easier to see a lot of the seams for the transformation, and to some people that can be a visual detraction. As I do know there are a fair amount of fans that do find that a detraction to the way the vehicle modes look, and I understand that point. Especially on one that's a light-colored vehicle like this one is, they tend to stand out a bit. But if that's something you can ignore, then this is definitely a toy to consider getting. It does check off all the boxes in the right areas, and it is a considerable improvement over the original. And for any of you that might be wondering, yes, his partner Runabout has been made. However, he is going to be an exclusive to Target stores. And right now, I have yet to see him in any of the stores. Hopefully he'll turn up a little bit after Christmas, but I may have to consider going the auction route to get one. At any rate, that concludes my review of the Earthrise version of Runamuck. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and join our ranks. Make sure you ring the notification bell, because I've been posting videos at odd schedules. I also ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And share your thoughts about Runamuck in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.